guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be doing a video on what makeup brushes I use to apply the makeup to my face. So to start off with is primer. That's my first step in my makeup routine, and I don't use any brushes, to be honest. I just chuck it on my fingers, rub it all over my face. I feel like that gets the job done for me. It's quicker for me, it's easier, and I just find it's I don't know, it just works for me, definitely. And I know where I've put it, how it feels, push it into the pores, love it. Next up, foundation. So I use the Ecotools stippling brush. So that's what it looks like here. And it is really dense. It's got some great dense bristles in there. I just find it spreads the product really evenly, doesn't actually give any like streaks through it, whatnot. So I find it blends it out really easy, buffs it into the skin really well. To follow on with that, I also use a sponge by RealTechniques. So it's very similar to like the Beauty Blender, but I just find this one's more inexpensive, and yeah, it works, I find, just as similarly. Yeah, I use this damp and I'll just push it into my skin, just dabbing it all over my face, just to make a flawless based finish. Next up is concealer, and I do the same. I just use the sponge. I don't use a brush. I find it pulls too much under the eyes, and that's a really delicate skin area. So I just use a brush and, a sponge, and just dab, 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 and it's all good to go. And I find it just flawlessly blends it out. There's no major transition, and it can highlight under the eyes a little bit too. I also use this for my under eye setting powder as well. So great multi-use tool. So I just, with the tip, I just press it into my powder and then just dab it in. And I don't bake under my eyes. I don't really feel like I need to, but yeah, so just pressing it in to really settle down the concealer. It stops any fine lines, any creases or things like that, or caking. So I find a really flawless finish with this sponge. It's great. Next is for the full face setting powder. I love this brush. It feels absolutely amazing. It's from Nude by Nature. It doesn't have what it's called on there. It's just their massivest brush. Don't think that's a word, but anyway. Yeah, their massive powder brush. It's beautiful. It's so soft, so gentle, and it just really spreads it really quick because, like, if you can see, like, it covers a large area really fast. So I find that's really great. Next is contour, and I use the RealTechniques sculpting brush. So you can see this angle here. I just find it really useful to really cut down that line there. It's great, and it's pretty dense, but it also blends out really easily, and I find it will depend on what powder you do use or whether you use a cream, but I find that this is great, and I wouldn't use anything else, I don't think. Well, not at the moment anyway. Next is bronzer. So RealTechniques again. This is their 103 brush, and one, how cute. But two, it's got a bit of a contour edge that I would use, but I don't use it for that because it's way too big, but I just powder around in a 3, and you get a really flawless, nice look. It blends out great, and yeah, can't go wrong. Nice and big, nice and fluffy, feels amazing on the face. Also, after that one comes the blush. Now, I've never used really anything else apart from the Nude by Nature. I think it's their contour brush, it's called. I don't know how you could contour with this. I don't think it would work very well at all. However, each to their own. I use it for my blush. I absolutely love it for my blush. Just on the apples of the cheeks and swirl in a motion, I get a flawless like blush line. It's great. I absolutely love this, and I rave about it. And yeah, the Nude by Nature brushes, definitely a great hit for me. I need more. Then for some beautiful highlighter. Now I use 2 different brushes, but at the moment my favorite would be the RealTechniques setting brush. Now, definitely don't use this to set, but I will just do this, like just run it like that all along, and you get a nice, I feel like it pops your highlighter a bit more than say a fan brush, and I'm not sure why. I'm just in love with this at the moment, this style brush and this style of putting it on, and I find it just really pops it out, really makes it work, very precise. I find sometimes a fan brush can like give you a bit more fallout than say this setting brush. So I would definitely recommend using a brush like this to apply your highlighter. I've only recently come into doing this. One of my friends was doing it and I was like, why are you applying it like that? And they're like, oh, it works way better. And I was like, oh, all right. And so, yep, jumped on and they were 100% correct. Absolutely love it. Oh, sorry. Then my eyelid primer, I apply with this. Now, I've had this brush for forever, before I was even really into makeup, I believe. From what I can tell, I think it says it's an Artiste Professional small shadow brush or something. It's fairly rubbed off. It's their number 30 brush. I don't know if it's still being made or not. I have no idea. However, this is amazing. It spreads it out really, really well, and it's the right shape, if you can see, to just really get in and around, and just, I really enjoy using this brush. I also use it for any cream shadows, because I just find it really spreads it very well. Easy to clean because the bristles are very, I wouldn't say they're not dense, they're not anything like that, but I just find them super easy to clean with the cream. Sometimes I find some brushes can be a bit stuck together, so definitely an awesome eyelid primer brush. Obviously, you don't need to use a brush for eyelid primer. You can use your fingers. I've done that before too. I just find that I get a bit more of a flawless base for my eyeshadow with that brush. I have a quick one. It's just the e.l.f. eyebrow grooming brush, and it doesn't say that, but that's what I'm assuming, and that's what I use it for. So obviously just brushing through the hairs. I would have loved a spoolie on one of the ends, and I am getting a brush like that. I do have just some little ones, but these, I prefer a longer handle. I feel like I have a bit more control. So that's what I use to groom my eyebrows at the moment. And then you have your eyeshadow. Now, just personally, I find this a very personal choice on what you use for your eyeshadow and how you do it, because everyone does their eyeshadow completely differently. So I used to be literally just one colour over the lid, done, gone, walk out the door. This is definitely not me anymore. However, if that was going to me, if it was still me, I would probably still be using a brush like this. It's the RealTechniques base shadow brush. And I just find that you can do a lot with this kind of brush. It isn't quite 100% flat or anything. It's really, really soft, very easy on the eyes, so it's not harsh. No, it's really soft. It's great. I use this in my crease currently, and just like that, I'll just use it in my crease. And if I do have like a couple of random other things to say going on, I might like say here, I will like use this brush because it's kind of got a point on it. But apart from that, this is my crease brush. This next brush is a domed shadow brush. I use this as a sweep over. So say I'm using one color as kind of a base on my eyelid, I will use this as a sweep over brush. It is fairly densely packed, but I find it very, very soft on the eyelid. It doesn't pull, and you can kind of sweep it over. You get your desired look. It's also really great to blend together your crease color and your eyelid color, because it is fairly wide, like that's quite massive. And yeah, really like this one for that. This is definitely my blending brush. So this is the Zoeva concealer buffer. Don't use it for that, but just buffing away, buffing this line here, buff, 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 and I love it. I couldn't go past it, honestly. It's great. I've only owned it for a couple of weeks, and just this shape, this size, everything about this is great for buffing, and it spreads it beautifully. No lines, no streaks, nothing like that. It doesn't grab or take away. So that's really great. And lastly is another Zoeva brush, and this is their brow line brush. Now I don't use it for my brows. I use it to go under here. So it's very soft, but it is quite short, so it can feel a little scratchy. But after it's washed a couple of times, I do find it's a lot nicer now. So just right under here, and it makes a really nice line. And I don't think I would use this honestly for a brow because it is quite wide. I would want a skinnier one to do my brow line. So they are the brushes that I use to create my makeup on a daily basis. Sometimes I go more, sometimes I go less. It all depends on the look or how much time I have or anything like that. But mainly I'll use those brushes to create the look on my face and any other kind of day-to-day look. They're the brushes I go to. They're my go-to ones. I will always add in another or add in a different one or whatnot, but they are my go-to. And I'd highly recommend, if you are starting out or you are in the market for some more brushes, Nude by Nature has some great ones. They are a little bit pricey, but they're not too bad. And RealTechniques. Seriously, RealTechniques brushes are amazing. I think they're as good as any high-end brand because they have the range, they have the softness, they're just a great brush. And no, this isn't sponsored by them or anything like that. It's just, yeah, it's definitely a brush to go get, especially even if you're a beginner, because that's the only brush you'll need. You won't need to go and keep buying different ones and ones again and again and again. And you can get them from like Priceline or things like that. I actually jump onto iHerb and grab them from there because they're a little bit cheaper. Just a little hint right there. But anyway, that's enough for today, and I really hope you've enjoyed this video and either learnt some tips or tricks, and even gotten a hint on a different brush you could use for something just as a trial, a bit of fun. If you have any other ideas for videos, or if you would like to suggest a brush for me to try out, absolutely chuck it in the comments below. But otherwise, please subscribe to my videos and give this one a thumbs up if you enjoyed. I hope you're all having a great day, and bye!